Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so tonight our card is the Hermit. One that is very beloved to myself. Okay, and let's go ahead and take a look and see what these tea leaves have to say. All right. And so I hope everybody made it through the eclipse today. I guess when you're watching this, it'll be the day after, right? Or whenever you watch it. It has passed. Yes, hopefully everybody made it through. If you did get to see it with your own eyes, well, hopefully with protection on, I would love to hear about it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It's free to subscribe. Okay. So. Okay, I want to start here. We have, it looks like a Herma right here, which is a statue. It's kind of long, kind of like a pillar with a bust at the top, okay? Often has like a phallic fertility kind of vibe to it, or, you know, depicts such. On the statue itself, and this is a sacred statue left at crossroads. It is usually related to Hermes, and when I see it in the readings, which is really interesting because it came up yesterday as well, but when I see it in the readings, I know that two things are happening here. There is a sense of leaving the familiar, going exploring, you know, kind of out in the world where, yeah, you would come to crossroads, right? The other part is a sense of finding the boundaries in your life, right? Kind of scanning around that interior landscape and looking for where you might need to be making some changes to, you know, how are you relating to others in your life? And I have to actually, I just realized I didn't set I have a new setup here. A little bit anyways. We're moving into the new studios here very quickly and in the next couple of weeks. And my husband set up some different equipment for me, which I'm trying to figure out how to use it. I have to have a little kind of timer to let me know where I'm at. So I forgot to start that. So anyways, yes, looking for the boundary, kind of the, you know, the outskirts of where you would like to be within your life and with other people. Okay, so this might be that there has been a situation that really kind of made you uncomfortable. Maybe, you know, somebody who was not respecting your space, or you know, treating you as you would wish to be treated. This might not be a new thing, but what is really, I feel the energy going on here is that you are just not interested in allowing people to make you feel uncomfortable in your own life, especially in your own space. That could be at home, it could be at your workplace, place. It could be, you know, somewhere you like to go walking or whatever it is. And so I think this is an important time to get into that hermit mode, right? Get your little lantern, that little illuminating lantern, going for a little stroll on the, if you could imagine your kind of your emotionality, your how you experience your interior thoughts and feelings. If you could take all of that and visualize it as a garden space, right? Now maybe it's a planned garden, maybe it's very manicured, very well, you know, laid out, or it could be like mine. Mine looks like a overgrown grove, kind of. It's just wild. But, you know, I think it does help to kind of visualize. Imagine yourself walking through this place. And when you begin to experience parts of the landscape, the layout here, that feel, and you know, instinctively, like, oh, you know, beware. This is, this part doesn't feel right. This is, you know, the little hairs on the back of my neck stand up here. I feel like there's something going on, right? And in looking at that, what is this related to? Who is this related to? Is there somebody that really makes you feel, you know, just like they push too hard? They say things that that make you feel bad, or, you know, I don't know, just kind of like, listen, we've all had people, right, in our lives. They say things, and they maybe even say things, it's not even like the overt thing they're saying, it's just the underlying information that they're kind of divulging, right? And it can make you feel really uncomfortable, you know. And maybe men are as like in tune with this as women, but I think as women, anyways, I know it's myself as being somebody who's lived as a woman my whole life, you know, you kind of have to be aware of how people are talking to you, because they show you a lot of things about themselves. And, you know, you have to pick up on it. If it is, you know, consciously or instinctually, or, you know, you walk away from the situation thinking, wow, that was, I don't know what that was. It made me feel icky or whatever. So I feel like there's this, you know, place that you are like, okay, something's going on here. I need to go for this little mental stroll and kind of look in all the corners of the place to figure out what's my next move here, right? Because nobody should be living in a way where they're feeling uncomfortable by the things that people say to them. And I know, you know, it's easier said than done, right? You know, I was a waitress for many years, so I've heard all the things, all the things from when I was young, you know, 18 years old, well, even younger, 17, 16, 17, I was waitressing and stuff. And, you know, all the way up into my elder years. Yeah. And so sometimes we're in kind of work environments where it's like, you know, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we have to put up with that kind of thing. And you learn to kind of, you know, protect yourself in a way that hopefully doesn't set somebody off, which is also unfortunate. But, you know, even here on the channel, I get just some comments. My husband gets comments that are just like, shout out to my husband over at Dove and Serpent Tarot. And it's like, you wonder if people realize, like, we're human beings. We read what you're typing. And it does. It makes us uncomfortable sometimes. You know, so it just, but that's, you know, it's life, I guess. But it shouldn't be like that, is what I'm getting at. It shouldn't have to be like that, and you shouldn't have to put up with that. So, you know, we begin setting boundaries, and you know, begin deciding, you know what, I'm not going to put up with somebody making me feel that way, especially if it's somebody in your private life, because that's just, you know, I mean, that's just too beyond. And so I see, you know, there is a sense of shift in power here. Not that you haven't been powerful, you have. But I feel like this is a place where you're like, okay, I'm taking my power and I'm applying it to these sacred spaces in my life. I'm not here to receive energy that is not for me, right? And so I applaud you for that. I really do. It's not easy to tell people, or, you know, I mean, sometimes you tell them, sometimes you just have to figure out a way to, like, politely excuse yourself from that kind of interaction with somebody. And I'll tell you, for me, it took having a kid. It took having a kid, and then it was like, okay, now I'm not putting up with anything. Like, I don't, you know, I don't know what it is about becoming a mama. You become that mama bear, I guess, is what it is. Okay, so let's see. We have a person here who is kind of standing next to this bird. I see this beautiful kind of comet overhead. And I do feel like this is a place of a wish coming true. Something, now the comet is not the falling star, right? But it is a moving celestial body, and it's observable. And so there is a sense of wonder and luck and some divine interaction there. We also have the bird, but the bird's head looks like a key as well. So I feel like this bird is like something like a heron or a crane, or, you know, something like this. So these are birds that I consider heavily introspection, contemplation. If you've ever watched them out, like on the lake, or you know, wherever on the river, in the wetlands, they stand and they look like they're meditating. I mean, they hang out for long periods of time, and they're fishing and they're napping and they're, you know, doing what they do. But yes, I always think of them as being kind of these very contemplative beings. And so I feel like for you, there is this real movement in your life, and I feel like, you know, kind of piggybacking on this power to speak up for yourself, to decide, like, what am I willing to interact with, and what am I not? What do I absolutely not like? I'm not going to put up with this feeling like this. And it is all related to this energy that is very perceivable, by the way, coming into this cycle. And I feel you kind of finding your path here, and it's very clear. I'm not talking about the whole path all the way, you know, to transition and beyond. I mean, right now, in the next few weeks, in the next few months, I can see you really having a lot of clarity about the things that you want to do, and I do feel like this is outside of your routine. Okay, so there will be some changes coming, and these are intentional changes, and I feel like this is a most blessed movement. Now, this could be that you're maybe changing your job, or taking a little time off, or maybe traveling a bit, or, you know, whatever it is, maybe working a different shift, which is something that you know, might be quite interesting, because, you know, if you've ever worked different, if you work the first shift versus like third shift, it's a whole different world, isn't it? So maybe working a little bit different hours in the day, something like this could totally change how you live completely. And that's what I think is really going on here, is that there's this interest in beginning to shift the way that you're living, having new experiences, getting out of the kind of same old, same old. Now, I think that, Sagittarius is somebody who really relies on routine. You like things set up how you like them, and you like to stick to it. And that's okay. I'm the same way. Absolutely. I always thought it was the opposite. I lived a very kind of chaotic schedule for many years. And I thought, yeah, this is how I like to live. And then I started having a set routine, and I feel like I started to thrive more against the rebellious spirit I have. So I think this is similar to a Sagittarius person. I think that you do like that, but sometimes you have to shift it a little bit, try something a little different. And so I could see that happening definitely here, and it really being kind of the key into this next place for you. Okay. Now we have that umbrella right here. We have a horse, and we have a person kind of, no, it's not. It's a sheep, has a lot of wool, and we have a person kind of chasing behind. So I do feel like there is, and maybe this all kind of comes around to this dynamic where at first I thought, was this somebody who you were maybe dating or married to, or somebody that was kind of a romantic engagement here, but I almost kind of feel like this is like a family member, or somebody maybe in your, like, you work with or something. But I feel like there's this sense of just really trying to dominate your time. And here's the thing about Sagittarius people, is that you give so much of yourself to other people. You often end up being the caretaker in the family, and people can take advantage of that. And then it's not even always that they are doing it on purpose, but they just begin to rely on you, and they expect you to, like, show up, right? And the example I think of a lot is this kind of, you're taking care of, like, your parents or somebody who is ailing in the family, and you're the one that goes over and buys the groceries and cleans the house and does all the errands, and yeah, you have, like, siblings and other family members, and they all kind of just watch you try to keep your life together while also taking care of family. And it's not that you don't want to take care of your family. You love your, parents or whoever it is. But it gets to a point where it's like, when you ask for help, they throw their hands up and try to treat you like, how dare you? How dare you imply that we're not being helpful? Although you're the one that's always there, right? So I do feel like there's kind of maybe this dynamic, and I feel like this is partially, why you are thinking about setting these boundaries. And down here we have, it looks like, kind of people in this kind of battle here. We also have an animal kind of biting the arm of this person. And then we have a dragon down here. Okay. So, and up here we have a person with a shield. Okay. So I do feel like there's this sense of, just kind of being so burnt out by the busyness of life, but also just kind of tired of, being treated this way, and not being, nobody being grateful, right? I mean, maybe like obviously like your parents or whoever you're helping out. I feel like they are, and that's what makes it okay, right? It makes it, but the people around you who could offer some help, them not showing up is just, it's kind of heartbreaking, I think. And so I don't know that there's going to be a resolution here anytime soon, but I do think that you being in this place of like, I'm not going to stay quiet about this anymore. I'm going to need some help in, whatever this task is. This is a real shift towards activation of your power. Okay. And that's why we see that dragon, because we are in the year of the dragon. And I can really see you kind of rising up to the place that you have envisioned yourself, right? Not just kind of staying quiet, not trying to make a fuss or cause any problems. It's just easier to get it done. And these are the things I tell myself. I relate to it. I do. But yeah, it just, but you have to sometimes, because it just doesn't end. Once somebody has realized that they are going to be able to take and take and take, it gets to a point where there are no boundaries, and I think that for your own well-being, your own peace of mind, you have to say something, or at least make it be known in some way that, yeah, you're not always going to be available, right? Okay, let's see. So we do have this kind of, it reminds me of a cow's skull right there. And we have an A. It looks like A1. We have a ostrich right here. Let's see if I can get that into... There we go. An ostrich right there. We have A1 up here. Ostrich and the skull. So, obviously we know the kind of attribute we think of with the ostrich is either they're like in fight mode, or they're kind of burying their head in the sand when something stresses them out too much. And I think sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we just have to do that. But I do feel that, I think there is this kind of call for self-preservation, and I feel like, in these times, you sometimes have to figure out like what is going to kind of shake you out of this kind of tight situation that you found yourself. And it can feel like just emotionally kind of overwhelming, kind of almost suffocating in some ways. And I think, really kind of calling upon those guardian angels, that interior guide that you have, the blessed entities or beings, intelligences that kind of come and visit in your dreams or in your quiet moments. You know, I think that it's important to kind of go and commune, right? And figure out like what is it that I really need, you know? And what is it that I need from others? You know, what is the reality of this thing that's going on? And what is realistic, you know, for me to expect of anybody else, which, you know, often is very little. I mean, just to be real. But you have to make decisions for yourself to keep yourself well, and not succumb to the stress of things so deeply. But, you know, at the same time, you know, to some degree, I think this is where you excel, you know, being somebody that is of service, somebody that has a close connection to your loved one. These other people, they kind of come and go and you know, at different times, and they cause stress. But ultimately on those days where it's just you and your people, and, you know, you're going about your, you know, your life together, it's not so bad, right? It's kind of that interference part. So figuring out how can we manage through that, because, you know, unfortunately, most of us can't go full hermit. You know, we have to compromise on some level, you know, and so I think that it is kind of this give and take here. With that skull, though, I really feel this kind of shedding. I think a lot about, like, Georgia O'Keeffe, and I think about her beautiful artwork, you know, especially the later stuff when it was like a little more, she lived in the desert. And if you don't know her work, go look it up. Georgia O'Keeffe. She does a lot of beautiful flowers and things. But then she has, you know, these later works where they're a little more, well, they are things like the cow skull, and these beautiful kind of still lifes of the desert and objects found in the desert and things. And they're really, they're kind of haunting, actually, but they're quite beautiful, and remind me of kind of this stripped down quality of aging, as all of the kind of complexity and tedium of the things that, you know, we kind of think we have to do in life and partake in. And even if we don't like them, or, you know, we force ourselves to kind of, you know, do the things that are expected, or what we expect of ourselves. And as we get older, you know, maybe it's health, maybe it's just we realize how important our time is, how fleeting time is, you know, and we start to, I think, realize we must do the things that that honor our lives, that honor our true will. And so when I see that, there's a beauty to kind of and now you don't have to go full minimalist, right? But to letting go of some of the things that aren't truly priorities, the things that we kind of populate our life with that are as much a detriment as, you know, as they, and probably more than they are a blessing to us, you know, and And so maybe you are in this time in your life where, yeah, you're really thinking about, like, maybe I don't want to be, you know, involved in certain friendships or, you know, things that you are involved in. Maybe, I don't know. I'm always thinking of things like, maybe you are part of some kind of, like a board, or, you know, you help run something, or you're in charge of some event that happens every year in your community, or whatever it is. And, yeah, it was great at one point, or maybe you just did it because you had kids or whatever it is. And now you've found yourself in this place where it's like, yeah, I don't mind doing it, but it's not something that brings me joy, and it is a lot of time and effort. And I'm not willing to kind of give that away anymore, right? So, you know, I can see that kind of all being in, like, intermingles with all of these other energies in the reading. And let's go and look at these indigo sage affirmation cards. These ones are so beautiful. I love the colors. They are the air element. And we will just flip through and stop where it feels right. Okay, very pretty. Love those pollinators. It says, you know in your heart, surrender to behold every moment in joyful agreement with everlasting life. Yes. Surrender to behold every moment in joyful agreement with everlasting life. I like that, everlasting life. All right. Well, Sagittarius, I love you, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, I would love to read them. I look forward to the comments. I really do. Sometimes I get kind of behind. There've been a lot lately, so I do read them as they kind of come in. At different points in the day, I'll like skim through all of them. But I do sit down either in the morning or at night or both, and I read all of them. And try to reply back to as many as I can. I used to be able to do every single one. But, you know, the channel is growing. And I thank you all for that. And yeah, all right. So I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk in a few days. Good night, good night, good night.